Thank you both for coming. All right, so today I'll just talk a little bit about how to get started with student research. So some of the benefits, opportunities, and first steps for doing so. Um,
If you click the picture, click the picture.
Oh, I see a little arrows down here. Okay, sorry about that. So for the introduction, I'll start off with just telling you a little bit about my research experience and why I'm talking about this subject. So I'm currently an MBA student in my first year at UIS and the graduate assistant in the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. So I have conducted student research in the areas of fashion merchandising and marketing during my undergraduate degree. So some of the experiences involved with this included writing a grant proposal for an internal grant opportunity, designing and conducting the research study consisted of an eye tracking intervention and survey research. I was recently had the opportunity to present at the International Textile and Apparel Association conference in Long Beach, California. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the benefits and first steps for getting involved in student research today, and why you should consider doing that. Starting with the benefits, you can enhance your learning, first of all. A great way to increase engagement with studies by applying the knowledge that you learn in the classroom here to specific questions or hypotheses within your field or related areas. So this can help you learn new skills, gain greater understanding of your field, and also solve real world problems related to your interests within that field. So it can also help you improve critical thinking skills by doing research. So you'll develop more innovative thinking, creativity, and ways of solving out of the box problems. So one of the main reasons why I chose to do student research also is because of the professional development opportunities. Can help you build very concrete skills that will benefit you throughout your career, whether you're in STEM fields or any other field as well. I think employers are increasingly looking for graduates with these experiences and skills as research is becoming more and more important to a variety of fields. For me, being in marketing, of course, market research is very important, and we conduct lots of research to understand how well advertisements are working, advertising campaigns, and even the effectiveness of websites. So absolutely, it can really help you stand out as a candidate for jobs as well as graduate programs if that is something you're interested in. I know a lot of students doing research probably already are grad students or we're thinking about becoming grad students, but this is a great way to stand out in that sense. If you conduct research as an undergrad, will make you more prepared to conduct your research in your graduate studies as well. And also, conducting research can also help you with personal development. Throughout these experiences, you'll build soft skills, including confidence and professionalism, as well as how to be focused and persistent in a project. Sometimes research does not turn out perfectly, in which case you can write about the reasons for why this may have happened, examine your study design, and sometimes you'll conduct a follow-up study with revisions to attempt to understand what went wrong or what happened with the first one. Sometimes hypotheses are incorrect also, so that can lead to more research to understand that as well. Moving on, it's also a great way to get involved with collaboration. You'll definitely work with faculty mentors throughout your studies. And this is an invaluable resource for students. They're generally a wealth of knowledge and experience that will benefit you and guide you throughout your project. So a very wonderful opportunity there. You may also work with other students in a group setting, which can help you improve your teamwork, your collaboration skills, and of course, communication. You'll learn how to communicate professionally and yes, in a professional setting that way. You may even reach out to other experts in your field, possibly at different universities, to connect and collaborate and gain outside insight on your project in that way as well, or even faculty and students outside of your department to bring in new perspectives on your project as well. So this next one may be a little bit obvious, but if you choose to participate in student research, you'll also gain research skills. So this can involve designing and conducting research in and out of STEM fields, but you may learn techniques such as survey design, laboratory science and safety procedures, and of course, data analysis and collection methods. There are many of these and they vary depending on your field, of course, but these will definitely aid you throughout your career as well. Next, student research can help you build ethical and social awareness by conducting a project that will have real world ramifications, of course, and also if you do choose to include human or animal subjects in your project, you'll go through trainings, especially on the proper research procedures and methods for protecting the safety and confidentiality of those subjects and their information. And you'll learn about informed consent and the importance of that, many other things like that. So this next one might sound a little corny, but participating in research can help you find your passion and especially help you dig deeper into a particular field or area and help you just really discover your calling, especially if you're a little unsure or you have a general idea of what you want to do. Research can help you narrow down your interests and find that niche that you are particularly drawn to or interested in. Or similarly, if you have many interests, you can dig deeper into each of those with various different projects in your field. Finally, conducting student research will help you make a difference. So you can make a real world impact on your chosen field and surrounding areas by contribute to the body of knowledge in those areas. You may work to solve problems or hypotheses in your area that may also tie-ins with very current social or ethical issues in that sense as well. Finally, how you choose to conduct the research is entirely up to you and the field you decide to focus on, as well as your faculty mentor. So this can take, of course, many different forms, including experimental design, historical analysis, ethnography, survey methodology, and of course, descriptive study is very important in biological sciences. If you are in STEM, you may do laboratory science. For the arts, of course, historical analysis can be very important as well. This one will mainly depend on the field that you are in and the methods that best suit that and the project that you're doing. So next, I'll talk a little bit about the opportunities now that I've sold you on participating in research. So some of the opportunities to explore at UIS include the USR GSR, which is the Student Research Fund for both graduate and undergraduate students. Sorry. This offers up to $500 per student for various scholarly research and creative activities as well. Some of the main reasons why students might apply for this would be to gain funding for materials for their project or possibly funding for travel to a conference to present research there. Of course, there is the FPRS, which is the UIS Floyd Public Policy Research Scholarship, which offers $1,000 to a master's or doctoral student to help with tuition and fees. And I think sometimes the name of this one may be a little misleading to students as it is actually open to all academic disciplines as well, but specifically for research. Of course, if you do decide to conduct research, you'll be encouraged to present at STARS, which is the Student Technology, Arts, and Research Symposium, to showcase their scholarly and creative works. So this might take the form of a short oral presentation. You could do poster presentations, or if you are in the arts, you may do an exhibition or a performance of your work if you are in dance, theater, or music, or things like that. So research definitely extends to both all of those fields as well. Of course, I don't have it on the screen, but there's also the Faculty Mentor Award, which is a great way to really recognize your mentor and their contributions, of course, to your experience with research and as a student. You can nominate them for that. So now we'll talk a little bit about the first steps, since you know about some of the benefits and opportunities for doing so at UIS. So as far as how to get started, you'll want to first identify your own your own interests by exploring research in areas related to your field and around it, and find what most interests you. So I think some of the best ways to do this will be reading current news on your current news in your area, discussing current issues and discourse in those areas. This will help you find essentially what is happening in your field and areas to look deeper into. So this is also generally going to be paired with reading academic journals, which are conducted by experts in the field and have been peer-reviewed and published generally. These will have descriptions of studies, and you can get ideas for your own project this way, of course, by seeing what experts in your field have done and how they do research. And of course, identifying gaps in the current research will be very helpful. You can also read students' dissertations and things like this. Of course, you should keep in mind that if you'll be using this as a source later on, it is best to have peer-reviewed and published sources for credibility. Next, you can check faculty information to find faculty members whose research interests might align with yours, and get an idea of who you may want to work with or reach out to. Of course, if you're nervous, we can help with this. You can set up an appointment with our office by contacting ora@uis.edu, and we'll help you with finding someone who may share your interests or have an opening in their lab or might be willing to work with a student in a mentor role. Next, you'll want to actually reach out to faculty members, which, this is scary, but don't worry, we can help with this. So you want to contact professors who you will want to work with to discuss potential research studies and projects, and some of your project ideas as well. This is definitely something our office can help with by setting up an appointment for you and seeing if we have anyone who may be a good match for your project interests as well. So another great way to start taking initiative and getting involved is to study research methods. So I talked a little bit about this with my first point in identifying your own interests, but looking at the research methods that are used in areas of your interests is a great way to, of course, take initiative and show preparedness as far as beginning to develop potential project ideas that you may be able to conduct. Of course, a faculty mentor will have more input on what is feasible, considering your university's resources and your lab and things like that. But this is a great way to get started. I think that's all I have for you today. Thank you very much. I did leave a lot of time for questions as well. I think I've been planning for that to go for about half an hour, I think, with the presentation and questions. And then, of course, we did have the full hour, though, reserved in case more people had questions.
I want to make a comment. And well, thank you for presenting this great presentation. I think the students should think about the skills that will make them stand out after they graduate, right? And just kind of as a real example is Hannah, our graduate student. We had about 200 applicants for her position. Hannah's resume stood out because she had done research. And so that's the reason why we selected her. So it gives you an advantage. So for students, just something to keep in mind, whether you want to go to grad school or go into the workforce, just kind of not only a set of skills that Hannah already described, but also how you stand out among other students who may also have bachelor's degrees.
Absolutely. I had no idea it was that many applicants. But thank you. I think that was some really great advice that I might have skipped over a little bit in the presentation, but
Can I ask a question?
yes, please do.
So I have found this question to be very common among students that I talk to. And so it goes something like this. I want to make the best out of my time at UIS. And I think research is interesting, but I'm very scared to start. So what are some things that you would like to tell to me? And if you could also share a little bit about your uh, day when you were doing research in an undergrad level. So what was your day like? What did you look into?
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
if you could
Thank
share.
you so much. I think that's a really great question that a lot of students are concerned about is they're very nervous to get started and what that might look like and how to go about doing that. Um, so I would say the first steps for getting started, we talked a little bit about that as far as looking at your own interests, developing some at least general directions of what you might want to look into. And then approaching faculty is very, very scary, but I think that's something that our office is really an invaluable resource for because we provide support in that sense. So for students at UIS, I would definitely recommend if you're interested, set an appointment with us and we can help you with getting started in that way and finding potential mentors. And also, I would say not to be too discouraged if a potential faculty mentor who you were really interested in working with ends up turning you down. It doesn't mean that no, you shouldn't do research. It just means that likely they were too busy. They already have research projects going on at the time. And so absolutely, continue looking for potential mentors and collaborators to work with. I think it's usually not a reflection on necessarily you, although it may be. So you may take that information, and refine your ideas a little more and go forward. And then I believe your next point was talking a little bit about a day in my, what a day looked like while conducting my experiment or my study, sorry. So that really varied depending on the stage that it was in. So I would say for at least 5 months before even applying for the internal grant that I ended up receiving, I was doing research, collecting sources, reading the relevant literature, of course, all for developing my proposal. And then, of course, I was writing pretty heavily and talking to my potential mentor about basically gaining her input on the study, its methods, and some other implications to mention in the project. So before, and that really I wasn't paid at that time. The grant ended up coming with a research budget and a stipend, which was wonderful to be compensated for, the hours that I was working on the research while actually conducting the study. But before that, mainly, I would say it's similar to when you're applying for colleges or grad schools. You kind of work it in around your other studies. Maybe you take time out of your weekend hours to do research and then write your research proposal. I believe mine also had a longer length requirement than the one we have here at UIS. But for the USR and GSR, it's a little bit shorter, but similar in concept, of course. Um, and then after getting the award, I had my senior academic year basically to conduct the project. And so I'd say the first full semester that I was actually working on the project, mainly we were developing and refining our survey questions. Then we submitted for IRB approval, we did have a couple revisions, so of course we made those. And then next I was recruiting participants for my study. So I had to send out recruiting announcements. And and things like that. I went and I spoke at many different professors' classes. First, I would email them, and they actually allowed me to speak in their classes and invite students to participate in my class. So that was something I was really grateful for, was all the support I had from like the marketing department, the business management, and of course, fashion, merchandising, and design. They were all very supportive of me, and I believe even the architecture school allowed me to come and speak to their classes. And so we had many participants come over from those areas and participate. I think all of interior design, they were so sweet. I really appreciated their support in that sense. That was probably the most time consuming aside from actually running the experiment. I had a room on campus, the fashion research lab, where I was allowed to um, invite the students to come in, and they had to sit at the computer to do the eye tracking study and take the survey. So they would do that. It took about 15 to 20 minutes for each of them to do that. Of course, with 60 participants, that did add up, but how I ended up doing that is I would have basically open hours where people, potential participants could walk in, or they could set an appointment with me, and they would come and they would do the study then during those. I mainly made those as afternoon hours where they could come in and the study. And outside of that, I was also taking full-time classes at the time, so I had to work them in a little bit around my classes, which could get a little tricky, but we did it, and that was good. And then I think that went on for maybe, I think I only had maybe a couple weeks or a month of actual data collection. And then it was, of course, working with my faculty mentor on data analysis. We used SPSS for statistical analysis. We looked at Pearson correlation and, of course, the reliabilities of each of our scales that we did. And of course, yes, after that, after the data analysis, we ended up refining the final report, which was basically it consisted of me doing a write-up on the project and the structure of an academic journal article with the hope to eventually publish that with some revisions, of course. But yes, essentially that I believe I had 45 pages for my final report, all my sources and things at the end, and I did include an appendices with all of my survey questions and the advertising images that I used during the eye tracking. So it was very long. I did refine it somewhat for submission to the International Textile and Apparel Association Conference. I was lucky enough that they chose it. I was able to present on it then just last November. And they did choose it for the best paper award. So I'm very, very happy, very grateful for that. But yes, I hope that answers your question. But doing the project in 1 year, I think, was also very, that's how the contract worked and how the grant was set up. So that was good. But it was a little bit, I think, ambitious maybe to fit it all into 1 year. Very busy, but absolutely worth it, I would say, for the experiences I gained. Yes, of course. And all of those benefits I just talked about. Wonderful opportunity, and I'm so grateful to have been able to do it.
For sharing that.
Yeah, of course. I didn't mean to ramble for so long, but is there anything else about or elaborate on? Okay.
Thank you.